I'm just not bothered. Like, you do you, you have your drama, you this XYZ happened. It doesn't concern me, so I'm not going to insert myself. But yeah, nothing was a surprise.
Well, Hugh, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today. I think the best place to start is how are you feeling now that the whole season and the reunion has aired?
I feel good, honestly. Like, it was a big secret to keep for like the last few months and stuff. And yeah, I'm just happy to like be able to talk about it with friends and family, with the other guys. Yeah, I'm like happy it's over, but I'm also like glad it happened and it's out in the open now. There's no more hiding anything.
You came in a little bit late with Bracker and Justin, and joining late obviously comes with its own trials and tribulations versus coming in as one of the original boys. But do you remember what it was like in the Masseria when you joined? Like, what were the dynamics in the house like on that night where you arrived?
Yeah, so when the three of us came in, I mean, everyone was dressed up for their queer icon party. So I was like, I can't even see if there's any hotties here because one of them's bloody green, you know? But I mean, I wasn't really nervous going in there anyway, but it was kind of like a frost tense atmosphere. I think after we, said hello, everyone was kind of fighting. I didn't know I literally had no idea what was going on. I didn't even know anyone's names. And I was just like playing like ping pong with my eyeballs, just trying to work out what's going on. But yeah, it was fine. I mean, I think the walking into the queer icon night was honestly probably easier for the three of us as well because it's already a conversation starter. It's like, okay, why are you Princess Diana? Like, why are you Frankenstein's monsters, stuff like that. So yeah, I was honestly fine with it. It was kind of hilarious, to be honest.
How did you feel that joining late impacted your time on the show? Because I will say you get to dodge the first kiss thing where you walk up, which I don't know how you feel, but I personally would be happy to miss that.
I'm kind of glad I didn't have to do the initial kiss off either, because like I got to go in and pick and kind of choose who I connected with and then pursue that. I actually didn't have to end relationship with anyone until the end. But yeah, it didn't really affect how I kind of went in there at all, to be honest. I was very relaxed. I wasn't kind of bowled over by previous relationships or previous friendships or like trying to break into them or anything like that. I was just gonna take what came to me, to be honest.
Like Aaron and Jazz, you were kind of only ever with one person in the house, in the form of obviously Jack S, and you remained together throughout the show, obviously until you didn't. Can you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about what that was like for you? Because even though you were only with one person while you were in the Masseria, it still seemed very intense as a viewer.
Yeah, I mean, the Masseria itself, it's a really, really weird situation. You know, when people say like time doesn't exist in the same way as it does in something like that, like in reality TV. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. But it actually is true. Like 2 days there could be like 2 months in the outside world. So things just like progress way faster than you think. Um, I feel like not a fatal flaw of mine, but like I befriend people really easily. So once I was already kind of exploring things with Jack and like pursuing that, I was like, yeah, whatever, not arse with anyone else. And then we just became really good friends. Then I was like, okay, it's weird if we backtrack now and pursue something romantically. Um, so yeah, I was kind of just comfortable with Jack the whole way through.
On that final day in the I keep wanting to call it the house, but I'm like, let me resist.
The
On-
Masseria, the Masseria.
It's the Big Brother viewer in me. I'm like the house. Up until the final day in the Maseria, obviously when it came to that final day where you had to do the final kiss off and you decided not to turn, can you talk a little bit about sort of those final 48 hours and kind of what was going through your mind? Because obviously that I would say seemed like the most intense part of the show for you.
100%. The last kind of 2 days of the Masteria were the most intense. There's also way less people there. Like there was only 8 boys, so it's not as like fun, frolicky, silly, like just doing whatever. It's like, okay, you're finishing this experience and you're deciding whether to take this relationship into the outside world. So that was obviously on my mind, and I was like, is this going to work? There's a bit the distance there? Is it as strong as we should be at this point? Ideally, you should be at a point in a relationship, leaving the Masseria, that you are strong enough to then pursue it outside. I don't think we were there, and I think we both knew that. And then our friends coming in as well, um, they kind of just like gave us a bit of a dose of reality almost, and was like, okay, is this really what you want. And I thought it would be much better to just, be honest in the moment and say, listen, we had this fun and this has existed in this context, but it's probably not going to work on the outside world.
Mm.
And I don't think either of us look back and want it to be any different. I'm not going to speak for Jack, but I'm still stand by what I did.
I think something that you just touched on there that's so interesting about the Masseria to me is in the real world, if you were going on a date with someone, you would instantly probably afterwards text friends or the next day you'd call a friend and talk about it or something like that and kind of debrief. And obviously in there you don't have that opportunity. And it seemed like for you, once you finally were kind of reunited with people from the real world, you were able to kind of have that input. What is it like to be in there, moving at moving at a lightning, moving at a lightning speed, where one day is basically equivalent to like 200 dates. What is that like when you're cut off from the world?
I thought like the whole like being cut off from the world would be like really difficult. Like my screen time's like 17 hours or something like that. It's ridiculous. And
Day.
it was actually quite therapeutic, not gonna lie. Yeah, day, yeah. Like I'm on my phone. Yeah, I'd be on social media. Like I'm not posting, but like I'd be watching, um, consuming it, I guess. But it was nice to be like taken away from that side of things. Um, but in the context of like a relationship, because you kind of lose the track of time as well.
Mm.
Like you don't really know what day it is. You don't care either. You're just kind of getting on with each day as it is. Um, but in the context of a relationship, it's like once that kind of progression at that speed and that velocity stops, it's like, oh Jesus, okay, we've gone this far and we've known each other a wet week, do you know?
Mm.
So yeah, my friends didn't necessarily like change what I was gonna do, but it just kind of sealed my decision, if that makes sense.
At the reunion, it seems like you and Jack are now like good friends and on great terms. Where do things still stand with you now?
Yeah, no, we're cool. I mean, even after, like we text every now and then, like especially in the run-up to the show, after the show's aired, we are texting all the time, just checking in like how each other are. We're with each other by the hoopla, like gonna do Pride, everything like that. Like there's no bad blood. I think we both had a really good time and we can look back on it and it's fun and we got so much out of it ourselves together, but also individually as well. So I don't think there's no negativity surrounding any part of it. And listen, Jack's a really great guy. He's going to go on to do such amazing things as well. So why not cheer him on?
Well, let's discuss the reunion a little bit, which obviously just came out. For us as the viewer, it's the chance to kind of finally see where things are at, because as we know, it's been a few months since you filmed, and obviously dynamics change, and etc., etc., etc. Did you learn anything new on the day?
I didn't know the reason, like what happened with Callum and Jordan. I knew that they had split up, obviously, but I very much try to stay out of other people's business. Like I I didn't know, not that I didn't care, but I don't need to know the reasons. I'm
Mm.
just like, okay, this happened, cool. Um, Everything else, yeah, knew about Adam and Justin, knew about Jack and Jordan. Yeah, I knew everyone, everything else that's happened. So like, I knew who's still together, who wasn't, who got back together. Um, yeah, I'm like, I hear things through the grapevine. People tell me things, but like, I'm not one to pry. I'm just not bothered. Like. You do you. You have your drama. This XYZ happened. It doesn't concern me, so I'm not going to insert myself. But yeah, nothing was a surprise.
In the Masseria, things move so fast, and boys will obviously go between each other. I know that that wasn't really your experience, but obviously you will have seen it happening. And
Hmm.
obviously some people will end up with someone that was already with someone else, or two or three other people, and vice versa. In the real world, if that happened in like a friendship group, that's a problem. Okay, that's a problem. Certainly in my friendship group, that's a problem. That's not going to be like
Yeah,
we ain't hanging out again. But obviously,
yeah.
in I Kissed a Boy world, it's normal because obviously that's the whole premise of the show. But how does that impact the like dynamic of the group, especially when it comes to filming things like the reunion?
I don't think like someone being exes with someone in the Masseria is the same weight as someone being exes in real life. I think it's because of the speed element, and also it's just like an unnatural experience in general. So I don't think people will look back unless someone like did someone dirty or something like that. Um, but I don't think anyone holds like any ill will to like exes from the Masseria. After the Masseria, I don't know. That would probably cause some drama. But yeah, it's also just like a thing that I'm just not bothered with as well. Like that there's a great group of 15 guys there.
Mm.
It's bloody millions of other people, you know. I'm not gonna dip my toe twice in the same pot.
Do you know what I mean?
Is that bad to say?
On a more serious note, this season, I
Yeah.
think all three seasons of the Kiss to Someone franchise, but this season as well, has been so strong on like having really deep and important conversations that just aren't had. Whether that be about HIV or even just things like topping and bottoming, which obviously we don't learn about that in school. We're not told about that. You know,
True.
these are just things you pick up along the way, I guess. But can you talk a little bit about like the power of what the power of having these discussions on a major network like the BBC?
It's amazing, honestly. The reason why I kind of did the show was obviously because I was criminally single at the time, and also because I knew that like 12-year-old Hugh would be watching this under the covers, you know, and it just kind of shows that people will be okay. Like you'll be okay after you leave school and get through college and stuff like that. But I think having those like candid conversations and the more serious ones just about queer life and queer experiences, it's it's so special because there's literally a handful of other opportunities globally that this has ever happened in this context. Like usually queer people are used as like a trope or a side character or like the main character is like gay best friend or something like that. So to just place us in a situation where we're the focus and we can talk about like our lived experiences, that is just like if it helps one person, everything was worth it, you know? Um, so yeah, it's really special to look back on and to like also like I learned so much from people as well, like from Adam, from Lars, from like Ruben, from Callum, like everyone had something to give, and I would have thought that like you know I was very developed in who I am and like in let's say queer knowledge and stuff like that, but I left the Masseria with so much more knowledge and I guess like power to go forward and to connect with people than I ever did going into it.
I thought a nice place to end would be what is next for you? Because I know you've already got your established club night, which maybe you could tell us a little bit more about. But is there anything else on top of that as well?
Yeah, so I'm just slipping back into what my life was before. I always look at it this way, like I had a great life before, a great life during, and a great life after. I'm not pursuing anything in particular, but I also do run a gorgeous little club night where we have queer Irish DJs play in East London, and it's a really fun night. So just keep going with that. But apart from that, like I'm just going back to my messy 365 party girl self. Like, life is fun, life's good.
Where can people find where is it on Instagram, your event?
It's called Slera Party, so Sleiore party. It's in my bio on Instagram.